What's up, everybody? I'm Mason, aka Amiiglows, and I'm here today with Kyle.
What's going on, everybody? It's Kyle, otherwise known as Mr. SpaceHeater. Today we are featuring guest Mike.
How you doing? How's it going?
Also known as Mikous Collections. You're on mostly Instagram, right?
Correct. I need to not drink when you're asking questions. Yes, the Twitter thing is new to me. I'm not foreign to technology. It's just one social media outlet at a time, I guess. I don't know. But I love Instagram, and I see it's changing the community, so I'm really enjoying it.
Awesome. Before we delve into the awesome questions that we got from Instagram, and I think we maybe got one or two from Twitter, but whatever. Before we delve into those, we'll cover some Amiibo-related news. There's not a lot this week, but we figured we'd cover a little bit of Nintendo-related stuff. And as you guys may or may not have noticed, probably have noticed, like we mentioned last episode, Josue is on a hiatus for a little bit. He's in the process of, I believe, looking at colleges so he can go make his decision. So we'll wish him luck in that, and hopefully, and he'll be back in the not too distant future. He's going to try to make it in for about once a month or so to help record. So, Kyle, you want to take over some news and?
Yep. So first thing is that I've been noticing that Star Fox Zero has been getting some pretty good reviews overall, all across the board from all reviewers. Which kind of, I'm not going to say it took me by surprise, but I was one of the few people that was sitting around kind of not talking bad about it, but I just didn't have high hopes, especially after we found out it was kind of based on Star Fox 64 and very similar, with just some bells and whistles and a few tweaks, but just after hearing all the good stuff, that's good to know. And as for the Amiibo side of that, I actually don't know a lot of details on the Star Fox and Falco Amiibo compatibility and things like that. I do know they once had in works to make an R-Wing Amiibo. I don't know if you guys heard about that. And then they cut that short, which is disappointing.
Yeah, well, so as far as Amiibo functionality goes, I'm going to look that up right now.
Did you happen to see any of the new vehicles that they're using? Like, there's that one, that drone.
Yeah.
Right. But if you notice, something I noticed, that had a little robot that came down, had eyes like Rob.
Yes.
Nintendo-esque. I thought, okay, here's a chance for an Amiibo drone. Okay, customizers, I mean, that's something that if they're not going to make, that's an opportunity. It's a softball.
That's a true story. Yeah, I did notice, in the trailer, even when it had, the Rob-esque figure and it dropped the bomb, it kind of actually gave me a Brawl vibe, like a major Smash Brawl from the story mode where they had the bombs that they had to set up.
Sure.
Huh.
We'll see. I really hope that they do something Amiibo-wise that is different, it's completely different than what they've done, with the Mario Kart stuff, where it's just a suit, do some more functionality to it. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. But I also feel like Star Fox maybe isn't quite the game for that, though, I really hope there's literally on the Nintendo website, it says, stay tuned for news about this game's Amiibo features coming soon. And it says compatible Amiibo figures, and it just lists Fox. Falco's not even on there.
Wow.
So.
Bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Opportunity.
Yeah, but also at the same time, Star Fox Zero, I loved Star Fox 64. That was, the first Star Fox game I played. I loved everything about that game. And so, for me, when they're it's basically a HD remake of Star Fox 64 with some new stuff, I'm totally cool with that. Just because, it brings back that nostalgia factor for me, but for somebody that maybe wasn't a huge fan of that game, I can understand why that would be disappointing.
Well, it's not that I wasn't a huge fan. I honestly like the game. I'm not a big Star Fox guy in general, I'll be honest here, but I'm not going to say it seemed lazy, because it's definitely not. The whole game looks amazing, just from, graphics and with gameplay, it looks nice. But, there could have been something new, which I guess we'll get from all, the side quests, and it is a little bit different, and all the levels are designed slightly differently, so I'm not gonna hash it out too bad. Plus, it's obviously getting good reviews, so I should probably wait till I actually play it before I get too critical.
Yeah. One thing I'd like to do in the future is kind of, have a section of this show where we talk about, where we play through games that have Amiibo functionality, not necessarily play through them on the show, but we talk about, maybe next week, Kyle, you would spend some time and work on the Inkling Girl portions of Splatoon, and play through like the Inkling Girl stuff, and I'd play through like the Inkling Boy stuff, and then like the Squid, and like go through the Amiibo functionality and like talk about our experience with that, things like that. Maybe another portion of the show rather than just talking about, oh, we played this week. Kind of expand upon that some.
I like that.
But that's again another time in the future. But I guess this podcast, in a way, will be us kind of trying to figure out where we want the show to go, because with Josue not here, it's
Agreed. I was actually thinking about how we could have segments, and that could be a segment right there. It's just gameplay through. So I like that. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, you're just kind of sitting there listening to us kind of brainstorm.
I have a lot to say. I just don't want to interrupt.
So Star Fox Zero is coming out fairly soon. What's the release date on that? Do we know?
Is it 22nd, I want to say? 21st.
Doesn't even say on the Nintendo website. Good job, Nintendo.
Yeah, solid. Woo! And about your nostalgia comment, that actually makes sense with how the Wii U's kind of been built game-wise, like what they've been doing with games. Like, it's not built solely for nostalgia, but they recognize that was a big factor as to why people were buying in. So, I mean, why not keep going? They already know that it's not going to continue past the next year or two, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, so the other thing that I do want to mention is that, like, they've pretty much, or there's the rumor that there's going to be at least 4 games ported to the Wii U, or to the NX when it comes out.
Yeah.
They've confirmed, so it's actually confirmed that Smash Bros. Will be on the NX. Now, whether that's just a port or a new game, they haven't said, but the rumor is that we're also going to be getting Splatoon, Super Mario Maker, and the new Zelda game.
Yep.
And so I'd be surprised if they don't port Star Fox as well. If they're going to, like, my guess is they're going to announce the NX at E3 or whatever, and then it'll be available for sale either soon after or holidays this year. And we've talked about this probably more than we should have for an Amiibo-centric podcast. But as far as that goes, I feel like, Star Fox Zero, if they're, apparently years into development for this thing, and they're just going to put it out on the Wii U only with, the NX potentially coming out in, like, 6 months. Like,
what if they did like a Twilight Princess thing where it's completely 180 from the Wii version to the GameCube version? They did some kind of similar like that.
That's a solid idea.
Yeah, I think that would be fine. Just literally just flip the game 180. Like, I mean, it would, for people that bought it on Wii U, like myself when it comes out, it'll drive me nuts. But
I know.
But at the same time, like for people that maybe didn't want to buy a Wii U or didn't want to buy Star Fox on the Wii U and were waiting for the NX, that's a good solution.
I've been feeling that way about, like, after hearing that they might get ported, I'm like, man, I just bought all these games, and I'm going to buy them all again for the next system. It's just inevitable. But I did also hear some speculation, which just is probably shooting for the moon way more than we should be. But I did hear about the Smash Bros. Confirmation, and that it might be obviously Smash Bros. For the Wii U, which is a terrible title. I just got to throw that out there. But I heard, what if they have an extra character or two that weren't featured on the Wii U that is only available on the NX because it's reported?
People would throw a hissy fit. Because if they're going to just port over the game, they need to maintain the same DLC on both systems, because there needs to be crossplay. Because if somebody doesn't want to buy an NX for God knows what reason, because I'd rather trade in my Wii U and get an NX than stick with the Wii U.
Yeah.
But for people that maybe can't afford it or have Smash Brothers and all the DLC for the Wii U, and they go and buy the NX, you don't want to buy all those characters again. My guess is we're gonna get like the Game of the Year edition, whatever. Or that full bundle, all the DLC characters included in the disc or digital download kind of.
Well, that's fair. Yeah.
That's my guess. I don't think we're gonna get new characters. I don't think it's an entirely new Smash game.
Oh no.
But
what if it did updates? Like you just said, here's the same game. We updated the graphics, and here's all those characters you guys have been complaining about. Here you go. And then it had some. I feel that same way about like Mario Kart. I want like those same style of levels. Not a new game, just keep going. I mean, graphics have got to a point now where I don't even talk about graphics when I'm talking about games anymore, because if you've never played games, it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
Console wars anymore. That's over. So graphics to me don't mean as much as they used to. So I would think that they should have that on the table at least to be able to say, okay, this game is beautiful. We love the way the mechanics are, and we've been fine-tuning them, and Nintendo with DLC, and they tuned it the way they want now, and just said, let's just carry this over, and let's add on some more characters, or redefine the graphics better for that new console. It's possible. Who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm still waiting on Amiibo announcements for Bayonetta and Corrin.
For real.
Like, come on, guys. Like, let's get on top of this.
Yeah, and I'm not a collector of the Animal Crossing series. Like, I won't buy any of them just because I'm not a fan personally. But I'm sitting here like my collection's not complete. Where are these Amiibo? Like, come on.
Yeah.
I know that side of you is going. Okay, I'm not getting this one. I didn't get this one. Okay, I need them. Oh no, I don't.
Yeah.
I hear you.
I didn't buy.
And seriously, we bash Animal Crossing every single podcast. It's
Poor Animal Crossing. It's not a bad game. I get why people play it. It's just not my cup of tea.
You either love it or you don't play it at all.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. So that pretty much covers as far as Amiibo-related news goes. There's really not all that much, like we said this week. So this is the first podcast where every host or everybody on the show is an Amiibo customizer.
Cool.
So that's kind of cool. But so general question to all of you: what do you guys have in the works? Like, what are you working on now? Maybe you want to give a sneak peek of. Maybe you don't. Maybe you just want to hint at it. But like, what are you working on now? That's like your next upcoming thing that you're really excited about.
You want to go first?
No, take it away, man.
Cool, man. Well, honestly, I got to a certain point in the custom Amiibo genre that I decided to do a different approach. I don't want to say I walked away from it. I just wanted to put a pause, not necessarily on what I was doing currently. I just wanted to see. I noticed there was a blending. When things were happening really close, I know it's a long-winded answer for a short answer, but I'm leading up to the point that I stopped because I didn't want to. There's a thing that goes around on the internet. Everybody just me first on the post, and I see that with the Amiibo. People kind of tend to just say me first. I did it first, and I first think, well, the guy at Nintendo did it first. We're copying him. So when that is said, with that said, I try to do things like here's something that I've been just putting around on, and this is I did an Ice Falcon. Nomad's Custom did a beautiful Falcon Punch, and I thought, okay, I talked to him about it. I even told him, dude, I'm going to just do one. Well, I didn't tell him, but I want to buy one, dude. So I'd rather buy it from you, give you the money, make this, and enjoy yours, because that's his custom. I know it's part of the game, and I try to make things that are not in the game. So with that, that's why I was bringing up everything, is I want to make more things that are not in the game. So like the Ice Falcon with the Essence, there's a few things that across the board I've noticed that it would be more beneficial in the long run to do like a one-off or a two-off or a little more than that, and concentrate more on the artwork and less on trying to make something from a game that's already been established. Those are all really fun, but seeing something that you've never seen before will really catch your eye and think, what is going on here? Versus, oh, I saw that in the game. Cool. And then you just move on with your life. So just something like that. Just a few of those things. I really don't want to talk about them because I don't want to give them away, but they're very much along the lines of the Ice Falcon.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to see some close-ups of that Ice Falcon at some point.
Absolutely.
But what about you, Kyle?
First, I want to just jump off what he said, and I completely agree. There are a couple things I have in the works that I haven't quite yet started that are based on other games that I'm still kind of planning on working out. I have one, it doesn't give it away. I have like one Majora's Mask, one that I've been scheming forever that I haven't started that I really need to get the ball rolling with. And I said last week I was working on the new Vault Lucas's. But right now, other than just working on orders, because I've got like a dry Bowser barely done, and I've got a yellow Mario, Wario Mario, if you want to call him that, almost done. But I've also been trying to stray a little bit from Amiibo. I'm starting on a lot more simpler of an end. That whole Nomads thing, like where you're going, is sick, and I do want to shout out and say that Nomads is unbelievable. But right now, I'm actually painting. I went and bought one of those Hot Wheels TIE Fighters just because it was only a couple bucks, and I was like, why not? and I'm actually painting every single part of the panel a different color, and they're going to end up having different symbols based on Smash characters. So like just
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Going around here clockwise, you've got Mario, and then Pikachu, Yoshi, Samus, Luigi, and then Kirby. And then the other side, you've got Link, Ness, Captain Falcon. I have to paint Donkey Kong still, Fox, and then Jigglypuff, because those are the first 12. And then the inside, I'll start filling with like Melee characters and ones maybe from Wii U and stuff like that. Just as something simple that's different than what I've been used to.
Cool. That's really awesome. So I'm not as creative as you guys. I don't do painting or sculpting really. So I just install lights and wires into things.
Yeah, but they look cool, and no one else really has no one can just pick that up and start doing it for the most part.
Well,
Agreed.
So there's one other guy that has just joined Twitter that I've been talking with some, and he does LED customs too, and he has an Etsy shop. It's Kitsune Mods, I think is what it's called.
I've seen that.
Yeah, he's sold his stuff almost as long as I have, but his all have batteries and switches. And so a lot of people have asked me to do ones with batteries and switches. I don't want to do batteries and switches because then you have to have a way to change out the battery, or eventually that custom's going to basically revert to whatever it was.
Right.
And that's why I do the NFC coils. It's not that I can't do the batteries and the switches. It's just that I choose not to for the most part. I haven't done one though yet, so I'm sure I could if I really wanted to, but haven't gotten around to it. But the customs that I've got going on right now. So I started doing this the other day. So I've got this Famicom Rob without a head.
Yes.
And then he's kind of. But he's just kind of chilling on my coffee table right now. And then I've got a shulk for a customer that the customer is getting a little pissed because so you can order my stuff through Game Changer's website, but
right.
The Game Changer's website, the way that the ordering was set up was not quite right, and they were having issues with it, and so basically she placed her order like 4 months ago, and as a result, I didn't really get the full details of what she wanted and whether I was providing the figure or they were providing the figure or she was going to ship it to me or what until about 3 weeks ago. And so, like, my life's been hectic the past couple weeks with job and everything, so I really haven't had the time. I finished. She was the one that had the green shoes Sonic. That was for her order as well. And
Gotcha.
Then she wants Shulk with a red glowing Monado. And so I was like, I'm really sorry. Like, I knocked the Sonic out like within 3 days after getting her order, and then kept me busy. And so it was just I got the Sonic done. This poor Shulk is just in pieces. Right now I'm waiting on the glue holding the LED in place to dry. But hopefully I'll have that done for her soon. But so I've been working on this one order, and I'm not going to say who it's for, obviously, but and it's Mega Man. Pretty similar to what I've done before, except this time gun glows like always, but so do the eyes.
Oh, sick.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, so full screen there.
I dig it.
So both the eyes and the gun glow. And Seth Hay has box art for me, and I'm working on trying to figure out how to do that printed box art thing. I'm going to seal it back in. And actually, I told the story last week on the podcast. I managed to, before you were able to join, Kyle, so I got the manager at my GameStop got me a brand new in-box Mega Man.
I heard that story. That was a good one, man.
Yeah. Well, it showed up, and what's sad about it is, it showed up and at GameStop, and they'd creased the crap out of the box. And I was like, "You've got to be kidding me!" It was the box is what I needed.
That's usually Target's job.
Or Walmart, or Best Buy.
Yeah, all the retailers that just don't give a crap about how they box their stuff.
Yep.
Oh my god, I'd love to see that guy. Here's your Amiibo.
Yeah,
Amazon's the only one I've seen that packages right. I mean, except they send you one Amiibo in a box that could hold 5.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So anyway, the box was ruined, so I had to go buy another Amiibo just so I could have the backing for the box.
It's so screwed.
Yeah, and it's like, really? But
Next time you need anything like that, send me a message. I have literally stacks of cards that I don't use, and I have the inserts for everything, and I very rarely use the inserts. I have, like, it's like the insert and then the other insert on top of that to keep it in place. Yes. I saw your story, and I was yelling at the screen going, why didn't you call me? Because I have a few of those just sitting here.
I've got like 8 Mega Man orders, so the more Mega Man boxes you can send me, the better.
Dude, holy cow.
I'll pull out as many as I can, and I know you need the whole shell, right? Not just the bottom. I know.
Well, yeah, the shell too. The shell and the backer. This basically that. Plus.
Okay.
Where is it?
Not a problem.
There it is. So this, this thing and this thing.
Okay.
And
yeah. Tons.
Yeah, so I'm in the process of trying to figure out how Kick-Ash and Gondicrus do all that in their infinite system.
SpaceHeater technique. I saw it. I saw how you did the, I saw that little video. That was awesome. You have a whole technique of your own.
Yeah, for which thing?
The rebacking. I mean, the taking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, repackaging's fine. That's not the issue. The issue is getting, so in this case, Famicom Rob's border off of this thing, and then sealing it back up with, glue is fine. But I also need to print out the new backer, like the cardboard piece, and do all that. All right, so we've been talking for a little bit about random crap. Why don't we move on to some questions, because we've got quite a few of them, and they're not all just for Mikous.
Excellent. Woo!
Kyle, did anybody happen to write them down before the podcast?
No, but at least I didn't. I've got a couple for Mikous personally, but that's about the extent of my side.
Okay, well, actually, here, why don't we start with why is it called Mikous Collections or whatever? Like, how did you come up with the name?
Well, that's a good question, actually. Mikous Collections, to answer the question, would be I collect and always have collected just about everything on this planet. As a kid, I collected bottle caps, everything, the monster tabs. I have some artwork that I've made over the years with the tabs, kind of layered them up like those sand things at the fair. Just any type of collecting, period. But the collections part, I didn't do the Amiibos and Pop mainly right now. That wasn't the reason why I did collections. It was because I literally collect everything. So I was just going to showcase the collections in a different form. So I started basically taking better pictures instead of just a phone. I'm one of those old school guys. You used to have to go to Fox Photo, the 24-hour place with your click camera.
Yep.
Geez, I keep hitting this thing. I'm sorry, guys. I move it out of my zone. Just collecting things, taking pictures. I collect arcades. I have a couple. I collect artwork, other people's work. I'm really looking forward to showing off that now. I collect just about everything: wrestling figures, action figures, just anything across the board. So that was actually the start of it, and I just happened to use the same Instagram while I was showing the collections of Amiibos that I wasn't opening, because God, once I opened one, forget it, was over. I was like, not going to open it, but I'm going to open it. I'm not going to open it. Yeah, about a month later I opened it, so the rest is history.
Okay, so, but what about the Mikous part?
The Mikous part there's a couple stories, but I would say the one that's been told is just my cousin calling me names, and my name's Mike by birth on my birth certificate. Michael Donald Folks, like the old folks at home. Not spelled that way, but the Mikous part, just a play on Mike, and it was just being called names, and I've heard it's other things from the land of the Amazon women. The name of it, Mikous, I've heard that. I'm like Heinz 57 as far as what I am. You know, now I'm just a little bit of everything: French, Canadian, German, Italian, goes across the board, all kinds of things. So this name was very fitting, and I would say college days, it was really, nobody knew who Mike was anymore. It was just Mikous. I'd show screen print, put Mikous on my shirt, and hey, there's Mikous again. So it just stuck since we're on college. It was cool. It was cool. It was a nice outlet to not be Michael Folks. You could just be Mikous and probably have bipolar disorder after.
Cool. So I guess we can jump into some questions. And actually, the first one is for Josue, a.k.a. Amiibo Steal. ThatGamer03 asked, do you actually steal Amiibo?
I saw that question.
They got started. The idea was that scalpers were a big issue when Amiibo first started coming out because the shortage of Amiibo was unreal. And so the idea was that they were going to help collectors and the true fans steal back Amiibo from scalpers. Not literally, but by providing collectors and true fandom with information that would allow them to get to the figures first. So like saying, oh, hey, so-and-so reported that at this Toys R Us in this town, they just got a shipment of like 4 Mega Man or whatever, and so they reported dozens, if not hundreds, of different stock reports, and they did a really good job.
Nice, I like it.
So they don't actually steal Amiibo.
So the fact that we're all creators and customizers, I like creators, by the way. Customizers is nice, but I feel like I'm so limited on that because I consider us creators. Have you ever been called a scalper?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Way too much.
I'm like, what the heck, man? Do you even know what we're doing?
Right, I always tell them because, okay, in the beginning, I would buy them buttons, but as it went on, now I order on Amazon.
Hold up. You're echoing so bad I can't even understand you.
All right. Hold on.
All right, so why don't we try to continue on some of these questions while we're waiting on Mike to fix his mic. Slender Sphere asks of all of us, which Amiibo is the hardest to customize?
Ooh. I guess that depends on what you mean by hard. Like, the Fire Emblem characters are ridiculously detailed, and that's why they end up taking so long. Whereas, Bowser just takes so long because he has so much surface area that it just takes a while to get him covered, especially because I have to use white, which takes way too many layers already to paint.
Do you prime before you paint?
I use a white foundation, which is a thicker, pastier kind of white. It makes it easier, especially if I'm using yellow or gold or something like that. But that's about the most that I do.
I muted Mike for a minute while he's scrounging around breaking things.
Word.
I'd say for me, it's probably the Fire Emblem characters as well, with Palutena being a close second. Just because of the amount of detail and drilling and stuff. All the Fire Emblem characters that I've done so far, so Ike, Marth, and Robin, all their arms are really skinny and they're at really weird angles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Lucina's doing frickin' this. So I have to go up through her shoulder, through the elbow, and then down to her hand. Robin's holding the tome like this. Just drilling through the limbs is a pain.
No doubt.
As far as the most difficult to drill through, though, I've got to say it's Palutena to make her staff glow. I don't know if you looked at how skinny that staff is, but the smallest drill bit I have is 1/16 of an inch, and that staff is basically an inner diameter of 1/16. So I have less than a millimeter's worth of material between a hole in the staff and where I need to be drilling.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So Palutena takes me all of 16 hours or so to make from start to finish. If I'm being really careful.
Right.
Oh, no. It's still bad.
Woo!
It's like we're in a valley.
Hello. Oh, goodness.
Poor Mike.
I know. What I was going to say is outside of Fire Emblem, I have a hard time with the Triforce Hero series just because they're all so different and take a lot of molding. So, I mean, I've got this here right now, which hasn't even been painted yet and doesn't look amazing yet. I made the Rupee Regalia figure, and then I looked up the order again to make sure I got the details right, and it had been refunded. So I'm sitting here with this, like, great, I don't even need to send it off anymore. So he's been pushed to, like, the bottom of the list till I have free time to actually take care of him and paint him, and I'll probably just give him away in, like, an Instagram giveaway or something.
You could always do like a charity auction thing. Those seem to be popping up pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the Amiibo thing coming up soon, you know, it would be good to have more than just that.
True.
So back to some questions for Mike and Kyle and myself. So we already answered this, but for you, Mike, what is the hardest Amiibo to customize?
I have that written down somewhere.
I saw your boards on it.
Yeah. I was like, I need a cheat sheet here because you guys came up with good questions, and the hardest one. That's a good question. My solid answer would be the one I haven't done yet, because
come on.
No. I tried to come with the best cop-out answer ever, right? No. That's a cop-out answer. No.
Yes, it is.
The hardest one, I believe, in my opinion, are the ones that are not like fat sausages, like Pikachu. Anything that's small, just parts that are tiny, and I'm going, how did they piece this together? Shulk, Link, not Toon Link, regular Link. Anything small, I would definitely say. But then again, there's a give. So if you have an art direction, like Captain Falcon, I would say is in that category because he has small parts. But his leg to reposition, if you cut the leg off, the thighs touch. He has thunder thighs, so it doesn't work. So I think each one has their own challenge, and if it's playing to the artwork, you can get away with some stuff. I think artistically speaking, when you're looking at something, you're going, "Oh, I just repositioned an elbow," and you're like, "Well, that guy has 2 elbows now." So this is you're just gonna have to accept that this bend is there, or you're gonna cut it, reform it, and do all the work and make it look better than it was before. So yeah, anything small, any of the guys' swords, all the guys with swords are terribly hard.
That's what we were saying.
Okay, yeah, it totally. But then again, if you're doing minimal, like you're covering it like Kid Icarus, you know, you're like, hey, Pit, well, you know, let's spray up, and it's a solid color like the antiquing or something. That gold pit was really fun to do, and I didn't have a challenge, and it falls under that same category.
Yeah, I hear that.
All right, so next question. Gate Gurus, so Bobby at the Gate Gurus, or aka Nintendo Guru, says, "Oh man, I love Mikous Collections style. It's so out there but amazing." So, not a question, Bobby. I know he listens to this.
General statement. Right.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
It's a good fact, but it's not a question.
Well, thank you, Bobby.
Yes. So we'll move on to Kick-Ash, who asked a question, but it didn't make any sense. I had to correct her.
No, there's an answer. There's an answer.
Oh, no, there is, and I've got a good... I'll do my answer, and then we'll see if it's the same.
Awesome.
So she goes, my question is, how wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? I said, how much wood? And so she was like, damn it, I was so focused on getting those wood parts right, I forgot a word. And the proper answer is, a woodchuck would chuck as much as it could a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Yes, approximately 700 pounds.
Exactly. There you go, Kick-Ash. That's your answer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
Yeah.
Good old Siri and Google combined.
So iDrink asked, and this was for both of you, and then I was like, okay, I see how it is. That's cool. So he said, explain the moment you realized you could customize Amiibo and be damn good at it. And then 2, which Amiibo customs do you wish you could have done before someone else did?
Go for it, Kyle.
Well, the first time I noticed, I guess, was my first 2 customs I ever did. I did a light blue Yoshi very first, and that was just going to be for me. Like, it was like, I want to see if I can do this, and I want my Yoshi to be blue. He's blue in the game when I play Smash. Like, it just made sense. And then I was like, that wasn't too bad. That looks pretty clean. And, like, let's see what else I can do. And I tried the dry Bowser, and it looked nice and clean. And then, like, Afro Man, or at the Afro Man, I should say, ended up contacting me, and he actually wanted one. So he was, like, the actual legit first person I ended up selling to. And I made a whole Etsy for it and everything, just honestly for that listing at the time, because I hadn't had a whole lot of plans. And it was just a nice hobby. It took my mind off of pretty much everything else that was stressful in life, so I just kind of kept rolling with it. And as for which one I wish I could have done, that is an extremely difficult question. I had one for this, and it's kind of upsetting me that I kind of let the ball drop on that. It was Shovel Knight. I wanted to make Shovel Knight be the Phantom Knight from Zelda, because Zelda's such a big focus for me. It made sense, and I'm probably still going to do it and kind of put my own swing into it, because if I'm not mistaken, was it Kick-Ash that made it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember she made it, and I was like, that is it. It's like, dang it, but awesome at the same time.
First.
So
that's how it is, man.
That's an before Mike gives his answer, that's kind of interesting, because there's been issues with that where it's like, once an artist does something and they're the first one to do it, there's been some issues where people are like, that's my custom, you can't go do that. Or like people will get kind of upset that someone else is doing the same custom. It's like, you might have thought of the idea or been the first to do it, but it doesn't make it yours.
Right.
Yes. I completely agree. Like, I've had people come to me and be like, hey, I really want to paint my Toon Link to be like Finn and Jake. Can I do that? And half the time it's people that are just doing it for themselves, and I'm like, yeah, you really did not have to ask me for permission. Like I don't have copyright. Like, it's not even that. You're not going to offend me.
Well, okay, so I understand that, like, so I wasn't the first to do LED customs, and this will be my answer to which custom do I wish I could have done first before someone else did. I wish I had known how to do LED stuff, so I could have done the first, like, glowing fireball Mario. They got like 8,000 upvotes on our Amiibo. It just went completely viral, and that was Jesus Freak, and he's the guy that I've talked about like every podcast now. That kind of introduced me into LED custom because I wanted him to do one for me, for a friend for a birthday, and he was like, I don't do commissions, sorry. And so I had to teach myself, but he kind of guided me through it, and he sent me to a guy named Fernando who also does LED work, but he does mostly Disney Infinity figures now rather than Amiibo. But I wish I could have gotten to that Mario first, so that I could have gotten all those upvotes and all that sweet karma.
Yes.
No, but realistically, that's what I wish I could have been, like, first to the scene for LED customs. And I feel like a lot of people think I am when I'm really not at all.
But your presence, man, and they take good photos. You know, a lot of those things help, especially with attention spans the way they are. Someone just goes right through it, and if it sticks in their mind first, you are first.
Your audio quality is absolute shit right now. It's going to be fun to edit this. It's going to be really long. Let's have you answer that last question again. Oh,
sure. The moment I knew I could do Amiibo and kick ass at it was the moment I put one together. Well, it was the Star Wars one, the Stormtrooper, actually. I should probably just go grab it. It's right here. I started that one because I thought, heck, black and white, how hard can this be? And so I just did this Mega Man. I mean, I just started, this is the no mask on it, so I kind of started painting him, but once I started the sculpting on the back and the chest, very limited tools, very primitive. I used a toothpick, and I just thought, okay, here we go, you know, why not? And I just kind of kept it to myself. I wasn't really putting it out there. I didn't put it on the internet. I didn't do anything. I was just getting by at the time, and I showed some friends, and they were like, why isn't this on the internet? So it took a long time. I didn't release that one until a while. I did a lot of other ones and built my confidence up, and I think that's half the battle in good old G.I. Joe. Knowing is half the battle. Knowing I can actually do this and produce on the same level I want to was pretty much the moment where I was like, okay, I can do this steadily without falling flat on my face, and hopefully climb some type of ladder that I set up for myself. And thank you. To say the first one to do anything Mega Man, straight up. I love Mega Man so much that the Amiibo, I love the stance. I know there's a lot of people want them kind of pointing a little different way. You know, it's apples and oranges as far as I'm concerned, because one person's going to call him Rockman forever, the other person's going to call him Mega Man. That's the way I see it. So I love Deadpool, Wolverine, Marvel characters, and I've seen a few people do them before I did, but I'm proud that I got that Wolverine one out in time before no one else did. I still haven't seen anybody do that. I do have, if you look right here, now that I'm noticing, that shouldn't be there. That's a Wolverine Weapon X. Actually, I won't tell you the rest. I'll just tell you that's Wolverine Weapon X right there, and that's a Amiibo. And now that I'm really looking around, there's a few that shouldn't be out. So if you see them, awesome. But yeah, that's spoiler alert across the board here. That's not my Mega Man Pop. That's Crown Customs. But yeah, across the board there. Oh my God, I should have put a lot away.
All right. So as far as the different poses for Mega Man, for my LED work, I pretty much have to put him in that pose. Well, you don't have to, but it makes it easier, and honestly, it looks more badass.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Especially with the LED, like having the LED pointed at, at you or whatever, looks way better than if I was to take that picture.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks way better. But, unaltered Mega Man, altered Mega Man. And literally, if anybody ever wanted to do this on their own, that is the easiest possible custom you can do.
Agreed.
Literally, just pull on the gun until it comes off. Or even easier, here, I can show how to do it right now. Bend it down, take an X-Acto knife, and cut right at the edge.
So many people are cringing.
Here, you know what? I'll do it on air.
Dude, you kidding me?
I will cut this on air.
Ooh!
Let me make sure I'm full screen.
Dude, I feel you, because in order to bend mine or pull them apart, I got a heat gun for that.
Nah, I do too. It's sitting right over there, but I'm not going to do that on air. Alright, so here you go. I've got my X-Acto knife, and I'm going to be watching the figure so I don't cut the crap out of myself.
Yes, that's good. Safety first.
And I put this right flush against the gun, and I just rock it back and forth, applying a little bit of pressure. Being careful not to cut into the gun itself.
Or yourself. That's probably necessary.
That's a little more important than me, I think. So, just slowly cutting through. And then get my hands out of the way because I'm almost through. And voila.
Dun, 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 dun.
So you've got part of the arm still in the way, and his stump. So the stump, you literally can just leave alone. Take a drill, and I'm literally going to do this on air because...
What a showman. I love it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Literally showing how I make my customs. So...
Awesome.
Drill, arm, or cannon, whatever you want to call it. Oops.
Ooh.
So, you drill in. And then clean out the bits. And then done.
Dude.
That's
Nice.
So for those of you that want to do a Mega Man custom, there you go.
See, dude, now you can't say it takes you 2 or 3 hours and charge by the hour.
Oh, God.
No. That's just to get this off and get this.
Of course.
The wiring and everything else is a whole other ball game. So, yeah. But there you go.
That's awesome.
If you want them in this pose, get it in all of what, like a minute?
Yeah.
So, all right. That's the
great.
questions. I kind of commandeered that for a bit. So.
It's all good. You had it right at your fingertips, man.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So, what is your favorite Amiibo design?
Wow. There's a few that I actually really like. I like the simplicity of like a Pikachu, because it's it's just real basic, and so you can do so much. I can see why like Gondakris really does just Pikachu, not just because it's easy and it's in stock everywhere. But I like Sonic. I like Mega Man. I like the non-Nintendo characters the most because they're in a Nintendo game, and I've been a fan of games so long. It's not even about the pose or, oh, this one has dirt face, because the manufacturer did this. No. I like seeing I wish there was Snake. I wish there was other more characters that are, not Nintendo. Those are the ones that are my favorite, just because we all know how Nintendo is in letting people in, and there have only been a few opportunities over the years to see that happen. So to me, this is in a physical, I can hold it form. It doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, not to mention to play off of that, as a kid, like, I always wanted to have some kind of like Nintendo toys to play with, and they weren't readily available very much at all. And so once these came out, that was the first reason I jumped to them. Was like, I just want a Nintendo toy that looks legit. As a kid, I had like one Donkey Kong that I cherished because I just had him to play with. But as for design, if I had to choose one, I think Wario's details are insane. I think he was so well made.
He's so vulgar, though.
Well, I agree, but I don't even like Wario, to be honest. But like as the amiibo itself, I thought he looked awesome. The Splatoon series also was epic and like really well done. But
yeah. So I'd say probably my favorite as far as details go is Roy. I don't like Roy that much as a character. I don't play him ever. I main Lucario in Smash. But as far as details go, him and Robin are probably my top two favorite detailed characters. Design-wise, though, I really like Mega Man. He's very simple. He looks good. Granted, I would have posed him maybe a little bit differently. Actually, I would have posed him like this.
Definitely.
But
yep.
Yeah. But I like how simple he is, but it stays... It kind of is like a modern take on what he originally looked like in the games.
Right.
Rather than, like, Mega Man X or whatever. And it's... So I like it a lot. And I'd say probably Mega Man's my favorite figure for that reason.
If I could jump in as for least favorite, I hate Donkey Kong's stance. I hate it. Honestly. Like, I get it, but like, it's so obnoxious. Yeah, it's so why couldn't he be down, like, just obviously on at least 2 feet in his hand and 1 hand in the air or something? But like, he's jumping through the air, which makes customizing kind of a pain. And like, I don't know.
I really like pretty much. Well, there are a bunch of customizers that do it, but Game Changers are pretty well known for doing Danky Kang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sonic, Danky King. I love all the derps. I really feel bad because I know what they're trying to say, and I know Kick-Ash did the Pika derp, or however you would derpachu, or whatever you want to call it. And
she's doing a tlonk.
Right. I love the links, the lunk, the lonk, the lank.
Oh no, a T-lonk. She's doing a toon lonk.
That's the best one to do it for. Like, regular Link, his face is too tiny. You gotta use Toon Link for that one.
You have to.
And Kick-Ash, if you're listening to this, and I haven't sent you that Toon Link yet, I'm still waiting on your freaking address. It's been a week. So anyway, yeah. So I like this whole derp series that she's got going on right now. It's really entertaining. All right, we've got one from Gondakris for you guys. What has been your most fulfilling order in terms of customer reactions or the experience?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Well, I can name two that are on the same par. One was the Spider-Man Venom Pop. I know it's not an Amiibo, but I did the Pop first to build my confidence to the Amiibo because the Amiibos are smaller, and I know Pops aren't really that big. So I did the Pop, build my confidence up, and I'm like, all right, time to do these Amiibos. I start to do the Star Wars Stormtrooper, a Mega Man, and I was really feeling just in a bad place. So when I ended up doing the Wario's Joyride, my emotions kind of filtered through that, which it should in artwork. So the guy that bought it, Victor, he gave me a long story of exactly what's going on in their neighborhood, which is really cool to hear the personal stories and stuff. I can definitely relate to my circle of friends that I play Smash with versus my best friends versus my other buddies and so on and so forth, different cliques. But when he told me what they were doing, I was really starting to understand that it's not just the Instagram people, it's not just the Twitter followers, it's not just your own hometown, or I have Frankensons here locally. When you hear somebody and their perception of how they see all this going on and they're telling you how they feel about your artwork, it's amazing to see where they view it. You know, I know why I did it and I know how I felt, but how they view it meant way more and actually made me feel better because, you know, I was kind of at a low point in my life. And to use that as an outlet and personify my feelings into something, it just made me feel 10 times better. And then to hear him say that 100 million times better, it was just so cool. And the same par was that Spider-Man Venom. I went out to a gentleman and his mother, young gentleman, and his mother paid for it. And I got to know them, and they like all my posts and continue to chat. And it was very cool because I actually got to sign. I sent him the very first one. I signed the box, and when he got it, he was more than ecstatic. And it was, again, it was one of those experiences where I was like, okay, I'm reminded why I do this and why I keep doing this. It's not about the money. It really isn't. I know it's cliche to say because we've all heard it. There's no money in this. We're doing it for the artwork. So when you see the reaction, that's the money. That's everything. And, you know, money isn't everything. So you get that warm sensation, and it makes you want to meet these people, shake their hand, tell you thank you for supporting me. You know, thank you for my long hard nights that, you know, you've inadvertently affected, and I don't mind doing it again and again. But that kind of passion is what's continued to keep me going forward, and you guys too. You know, I see what you do, and you know, it's a very nice peer support that we've all built for ourselves. So we all kind of had each other on the back at times too.
Yeah.
Dude, absolutely.
Kyle, do you want to go next, or do you want me to go?
I don't mind. Go right ahead, man.
All right. So I've got two as well. So I have this customer. She's a repeat customer. Her name's Grace, and she's actually in Canada. She's one of two customers that I have that are international that have ordered from me more than once. So Grace is plays Smash competitively, I believe. She sent me a pit, who is her main, and she was really proud of her pit amiibo. She trained it to level 50, and she sent it, and she was saying she used her amiibo so much that it wore down to the point where it just broke from like constant use.
Wow.
And so she decided she wanted a new one for display that she was going to train up and not use quite so much, but she wanted an Amiiglo. So she sent me her pit, and I made it, and I did a great job of the wings. Like, pit's really difficult because I have to cut the wings in half and install the light. And then when I put it back together, I have to heat the wings up enough that they're pliable so I can mold them around the light. But not if you heat them up too much, they kind of like melt and shrink. It's like they're like shrink wrap. So the first time I did pit for her, it was perfect. Like I got it dead on perfect. Like you could barely tell there were seams. It was one of the best ones I've ever done. So I send it back to her, and she gets it, and she's just ecstatic and super. She's like, "Oh, thank you so much." She's really excited about it. And then about a month later, I get a message from her, and she's like, "I'm about to cry." I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "I had Pitt with me and in my car, and I was picking up a friend, and she sat on him in the passenger seat, and the wings just broke off, and which severed all the wires." And I was like, "I'm really sorry. That sucks. I'm more than willing to do another one for you. You just gotta send it in, And so she sent me a second one, and I did it for her, and I gave her a little bit of a discount because repeat customer and whatnot, and she seemed pretty cool, and I felt bad for her. But as I was heating up the wings this time, they overheated it, and a freaking hole formed on the backside of one of the wings. And I was like, once there's a hole, I can fill it with glue, but there's not really much I can do about it. And I tried painting over it with some white, and it made it look worse, so I then took the paint back off. And it just, and I was like, "I'm really sorry, it looks bad." So I charged her, I lost money on that order, as far as my time goes, and supplies. But I felt bad because and I have a little disclaimer for whenever people order from me, is like, it's scratches, nicks, holes, whatever, come with the territory when you're cutting a figure up, heating it up, and doing that. Like, and I'm sorry. I'll work with you if it looks terrible. Obviously, I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, you're paying full price, But I felt really bad for her, and I thought I did it was not my best work, and so I felt bad. So basically, she was like, and I sent it to her, and it's on the inside of the wing, so most of the time, unless you're really looking at it, you're not going to notice. But she sent me a third one, and she said, take your time with it, get to it when you can get to it, and make it perfect. And it's sitting in a plastic bag, pulled apart completely. I'm going slow with it, but she's been probably my most loyal customer, and she's been a really great person to work with too. So that
Sounds like it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so she's probably my favorite customer at this point. Now I got one more, and I'll try to make this one a little shorter. So I don't know if you guys remember, around Christmas last year, I did the Amiiglows season of giving. I did a crap ton of giveaways, and they were all bundles of like. The first one I did was the Woolly Yoshi bundle. I had all 3 of the little mini Yoshis. I gave those away. I did a Pokemon bundle that had everything except Jigglypuff. Let's see, and this was before those huge restocks. So
Scarce.
Yeah. So I had like triples of like everything from doing customs, and and I did a Holy Trinity giveaway.
Nice.
And I did a lot of really awesome giveaways. The final giveaway was what I called the Many Faces of Mario giveaway. I went and got one of every single Mario amiibo available. So there's Smash Mario, Super Mario Party, or Mario Series Mario, Silver Mario, Gold Mario, 8-bit Classic, 8-bit Modern, Dr. Mario. Yeah, so there's those 7. And so the guy that won that, I just did a random, enter here. You had to fill out like a type form. And then I did a random number generator based on that. And the guy, was really excited about it. The guy that won it, his dad is sick, terminally ill. And Christmas time was just like a really rough time for his family. And just by chance he won. But he told me about his, his life and his story and everything. And it was really cool. It was really touching. I was like, the person that won this couldn't have deserved it more than this guy.
That's cool.
So I was really happy about that. So that was my other experience with somebody having to do with, I guess, my customs in a way. But I was just really happy with that one. What about you, Kyle?
I've got a couple, but I'll try to stick to the better ones. For one small one is, I remember Christmas season when I started falling behind hardcore. There was one guy that had messaged me and he said, hey, my son's birthday is at the end of January. We wanted to make sure we got it in time and yada yada. And I didn't have any extra Finn and Jake sitting around, and that's what they had ordered. That was one of the last of my own customs I still had, because for a while I was trying to keep one of everything I made, but then as time went on I was like, it's really not worth it. I'd rather give them to people. I don't need them. I can always make another one if it really is necessary. So I actually, because it was so close to his birthday, I sent him the first one. Kind of like how Mikous had sent the first of his. I gave him a note, a special note, and I told him, this is the very first one I ever made. It's been the hardest to let go of, but I'm not going to ruin your birthday. I'm not going to keep from you getting what you actually know you're getting. That's the hardest thing, too, is people know they're getting these from us. Half the time, the kids pick it out for the parents. It's not like parents doing it by surprise, so I don't want to ruin it. So I sent it, and they were, so ecstatic, and that was nice. Another one, as an Instagram user by the name of Sean1 Robertson, is actually the reason I made an Iron Man Mega Man. He asked for one for his buddy, and he sent me 2 pictures. I was not the first person to do this, but he sent me pictures of one person had made one where it had the Iron Man helmet on top, and then another one was a little bit brighter in color, and he had the facial hair and no mask, and I kind of blended them together. He asked me to put the colors together, add the facial hair, but then kind of still keep it simple. And I ended up doing that, and his response to me just personally was so ecstatic because it came out exactly as he was hoping. His friend loved it. So that was another nice one. But one of my favorites is not the first Triforce Heroes 3-pack I made. I made another one for somebody, and I sent it to him. And I do a shake test. So once I put it in the box, once I'm done customizing, I shake the box hardcore. Sometimes I drop it just to make sure like the custom's not going to pop out of that holder and be rattling around inside that case, because then you just got problems galore on your hands. So they ended up sending me a picture when it arrived, and they had come loose. And like 2 of them, the Goron one was just in shambles, and the Zora one was a little rough. And I immediately responded. I was like, I am terribly sorry. Like, I thought I did a good shake test. I must not have done a good enough one. Just send it back. I'm like, there's not going to... I will pay for your shipping. You don't have to pay for anything. This is horribly my fault. The son, not the mom, who was originally a little disturbed, the son messages me, and he had glued it all back together and, like, put everything back perfectly. You could barely tell it had broken. And he's like, I honestly don't want to send this to you. He's like, I am so happy with these. And it was like a littler kid, but I still felt so bad. I'm like, this, like, honestly, I'll make you the whole new one, or I'll just redesign these. But he was just happy having them there and being able to put them back together himself, that he was content, and that meant a lot to me because I was still behind, and I'm like, that's going to put me more behind, but I feel so bad, I can't let that go. But he was a trooper about that.
That's cool. Dedicated to the art, man.
Yeah.
Well, so it's... I'm just thinking, this whole topic of, like, I feel like this whole community, not just, like, the custom artist community in general, is just a bunch of ridiculously giving people. I mean, Chris does charity stuff, like, literally every chance she gets.
Mm-hmm.
Same with Evilos, Game Changers too, like, Xanark and Sky did the Rio-a-thon for the guy.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Big time.
I mean, like, everybody in this community is just like hearts of frickin' gold, man. Like,
absolutely, absolutely. I used to do some charity work before these type of customizing with just T-shirts. I know screen printing and apparel like the back of my hand, so I was able to, the Haiti relief and, there's a few things at the time that were going on. So, I actually sent an image I created, sent it to one of my buddies downtown LA. He was all for it, and the school I was working at the time backed it. And, that kind of practice is, I've had relatively good practice helping others in these type of situations. Now I'm not in the thick of it, but I sure know how to put up an auction. So,
yeah.
That kind of stuff is, I enjoy it. I love giving to someone else that truly needs it. And there should be more people like that supporting it. And that's actually what I found, like with the hashtag #DrawMikous thing. I was kind of over the giveaways. I think they're awesome. I mean, I've done them. I know we've all done them, and they're very successful. But I've actually found that more people are interested in giving. And along those same lines, it's just a drawing or something. That's nothing. These people are gifted, and they don't have the confidence behind them to put it out on the internet. Maybe they're just a meme account. But when I actually get a message from you going, hey, I really like your stuff, and I'm going, you're an artist. And they're like, well, how do you know that? And I said, because you went out of your way to tell me something. And your account is full of just memes. So can I see something you've done? And then it's just confidence. They don't want to put themselves out there for judgment. And I say to those people, don't hide behind that. If this is going to help you and be inspired by anything any of us do, then you should put yourself out there. And don't worry about the critics. Don't worry about anything like that, because likes and follows aren't everything. It's what you put into it is what you'll get out of it.
Yeah,
so,
I get a lot of people on Instagram that are like, oh, I really like this. I want to do something like that, or I want to make a custom like this, or I've got this idea that I plan on doing, but I don't really know. Like, I don't think it's going to be that great. And every time I just tell that person, like, that's not the point. Like,
right.
Who cares? Just do it. Like, if that's what you want to do and you think you can do it, it doesn't matter after that.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Confidence.
I get tons of people that are like, hey, I really want to make my own Amiiglo or whatever, and I have my short answer, mostly because I get asked that probably at least twice a week, and I'm just kind of tired of responding like in depth to it, and so I always just point people to our Amiibo customization tutorials that I did, But
smart.
I'm not trying to be rude or whatever. Like I'm not trying to ignore you or whatever. Like it's just I get that question so much that it's easier for me to point people. But then I feel like people then don't think I don't want to talk to them at all, which is not the case at all. I'm more than willing to talk to people, but I'll try. Like I try not to just be like, oh, go look over here or whatever. I'll try to remember to say like, go look over there, and if you got any questions, feel free to like message me back or whatever. Glad to help you through it or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. This has been a really deep podcast.
Hey man, we all got a lot to say.
Yeah, no doubt.
Speaking of like saying one thing and then not trying to push people away, I had Amiibo MVP, just a great guy, messaged me about LEDs, and I said, well, I know a guy at Amiiglows, not well, but I know. Look at his work. Look at his body of work. You can tell by the pictures. And he goes, excellent, thanks. And he had bought the holographic Mewtwo off of me like that. I mean, he knew what he wanted. He saw it, and I was just in test mode, which is 90% of what I do is just test, 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 do it wrong so you can do it right. And he tells me, or asks me, do you think you could do an LED? I see some of your stuff have lights. I said, I'm not doing LEDs. I have a whole different ball of wax of what I'm doing, but I know what you want. Go down this path. So, okay. So I've been meaning to message you about that, but I guess you did the Hulkbuster for him?
Oh, was that him?
That's him, and he messaged me about it because I had commented on it, and I went, you know what? I'll do you one better. He wanted me to paint it, so I said, you know what? It's like a tattoo. You don't tattoo another tattoo's artist, work. So I go, I don't want to mess with the LEDs or anything, and I don't know how he's going to do it, so I'll do you one better. I'll go buy one. They were on sale, buy one, get one for $1. So I bought Venom because I wanted him because I love Venom. And then I just bought the Hulkbuster for the $1, and I go, hey, I'll do you one better. I'll practice on this one. If it comes out good and this is the way you like it, you just want some metallic version on top of what was already there. No, that's good. That's paint by numbers. So I'll knock it out for you. I'll send you the one without the light. If you like that, then when you get the one from Amiiglows, send it back, send it to me, and I'll knock it out for you just because I had practice. I don't want to mess it up and be like, oh, start over now. So and he was really cool because he messaged me and was like, I don't want to cause any problems. I don't want to piss you off or whatever. But I really want to be battery powered and have a switch so I can display it like all the time. And I was like, well, I don't do that. I'm pretty sure there's this one guy, the Kitsune Mods, that does that. And so that Hulkbuster is making the rounds, man. Kitsune Mods has it right now, and so I installed the LED and all the wiring. Oh, okay.
And so I had the NFC coil attached in the base of it, right?
Okay.
And so, but I left the base detached and sent it. But I just put like masking tape and taped it down, and then sent it back to him, and he got it back, and then he sent it to Kitsune, who's putting the switch and the battery in.
That's awesome.
And I'm guessing he's going to send it to you after that.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And it's all him. I'm actually beside myself because he took the initiative, and the man knows what he wants. He came at me, and I did the same thing with the Mewtwo. I said, you know what? I got some new metallics, some candies, all kinds of paints I'm willing to try, whatever you want. So I knocked out a whole version, and he goes, no. Okay, well, let me try again. So I did another one, and he goes, that's it. So he goes, but wait a minute, I want the eyes. And I go, for what you're paying? He wanted it overnight. He paid for overnight shipping because he had to have it. And I'm going, no. You can save like $20, $25.
Right.
It's going from California to Jersey, dude. And no, I wasn't going to argue with the man. He wanted it. He got it. I was up longer than I told him. And now he knows I've been up longer, but it was all worth it. The fact that he knew what he wanted, he went for it, and I was happy to produce. No problem.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sick.
Well, it's so he messaged me months ago, and then he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna send it," and then he never sent it, and then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna send it," and then he never sent it, and so eventually I was like, "No, I'm not trying to be a dick, but like I thought you had sent it like months ago, and I keep thinking it's gonna show up at my doorstep, and it never did. So like in the future, don't tell someone that you're about to send it unless you like are at the post office.
Right.
And it's like I'm not trying to bust your balls or whatever. I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just in the future. Don't like commit to an artist saying I'm going to hire you to do this unless you're like ready to do it.
Yeah.
On the other end of that, I've been the horrible salesman where I have marked something I'm like the next day I'm shipping these 4 out. They're in boxes. They're sitting downstairs. And I learned this the hard way. This ceased after Christmas. I couldn't do this anymore. But there was one time where I had a bunch ready to go. And I'm like, I'm going to mark them as shipped tonight, and tomorrow I'm taking them. And then they sit there. They sat there for like a week because I just forgot about it. I put it aside. I'm like, they're already off my list. And once they're off my list, it's not in my field of vision unless I come down and I look at that. And I got hit so hard from somebody from that just online. And they I deserved it. I didn't even feel that for them. I was like, I get where you're coming from. Trust me. That was horrible. And even my girlfriend was like, yeah, from now on, once you get to the post office, you should probably start marking it as gone. Until then, you might want to leave it alone. It was like, hey, I got a little too rambunctious on that one.
Yeah. All right, so we got one more question, and then I think we'll wrap it up for the night.
Word.
And so thanks, Gonda Chris, for that last question, because it got us on a really cool tangent.
Took us away.
Right?
Yeah. So World of Woozy asked, what's the toughest project you guys came across, and how did you get through it? Okay, he didn't say you. He said, how did y'all get through it?
Yeah.
That's it. That's all 3 of us.
So, well, we haven't had a project together yet, so I don't know how we got through it since it didn't happen. But
Doesn't mean we can't have a project together, though.
I was gonna say.
So, Mike, you're not in on the Amiibo project
No.
currently, but so depending on how this one turns out, basically, you listen to the podcast and
Yes. I know exactly what's going on.
All right, so I just randomly picked the artists that I was already familiar with, which is why the people that got chosen. It had nothing to do with skill or anything like that. It's just who I talked to before. So what I want to do is have this be like the master Amiibo, and then have challengers approaching, and do others with other custom artists. Whether it's somebody that's like fairly new to the scene that is just getting started, and have the master and then a bunch of challenger Amiibos, and then all the Amiibos will be like charity-based things, like we'll offer for charity.
It's hilarious because he brought this up last time too. He's like, Gonda Chris, or not Gonda Chris, who was it? He's like, Amiilos and AK shops just go together so well. He's like, and then I got yours, and it's like so nice, but it's just out of left field.
Well, okay, all right, so.
This reminds me, in grade school when you take the paper and you fold it into thirds or fourths or whatever, and then you draw the little portion, then you give it to somebody, and then they draw their portion, and then you open it up and you're like, look at this monster. Just in Amiibo form.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so I'm really excited for this. We may not even use the original Smash base that it's sitting on. So. Man, that's so cool. Together, though, so.
Oh, speaking of which, I had a base idea. I don't know if anyone else wants to beat me to it. One of the other podcasts was talking about Twilight Wolflink Amiibo and how it's kind of it was Nintendo Guru said it actually. He said he wished that it wasn't a regular base, that it was a rock.
Yes.
I actually might roll with that. I might take that base off, take out the NFC. I might make a mold out of either clay or whatever. I mean, that thing reads through anything. I know because I had to make sure it could read through a wood display that I'm currently working on, so you can just scan from the outside. Well, but make a rock that the other 2 rocks sit on. That would be slick.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Sorry, random tangent.
No. It's all good. I actually do the same thing. I have. God, there's so much I'm bursting at the seams to release, and I feel like I can just at least tell somebody at this point. I've actually gone to the extent of the Amiibo definition of an Amiibo, if you were to generalize it, would be a figure on a base that was represented by the game, the game version of it. I actually made them without the base. So it's more or less a figure and then a coin, and you scan the coin versus... I just didn't want to take the artwork out of the box, and considering I'm starting the box over, I don't want to do the bubble. I love it, but it doesn't feel custom. I know it's a custom box, but it just didn't seem what I wanted to produce. So I made the coin from a casino chip. I just took the casino chip out of the case, resin molded a coin, and then it's going to be just like the base, but flush. So I'll be able to do my own coin, put the NFC chip in there, and then you'll have this case that looks like a casino chip, and say, oh, I don't want to leave the Amiibo. I want to leave the Amiibo in the package, but I just want to scan my stuff. Well, and then it's just a different approach.
Well, no, and so I have a similar idea, because the Mega Man that I cut the arm off of tonight is a replacement, or rather the chip inside of it is a replacement for another Mega Man that I did for a giveaway that Toys for Games is going to do at PAX, or PAX East or whatever. They asked a lot of custom artists to donate stuff if they are willing to like get their name out there. I was like, I'll send you a Mega Man. Well, I finished the figure, and I went to go put the chip back inside and glue the base together, and I can't find the chip. Well, my freaking cat stole the chip and chewed the crap out. And so I have
something shiny.
Yeah, something shiny.
Yeah. So I have a Mega Man without a chip. So I'm going to take the chip out of this one and put it in the other one and send them that. But, then I still have a Mega Man without a chip. But I had an idea with the Mega Man that has the glowing eyes. I was having issues getting the lights to be bright enough across the board. It was basically if I had too many loops in the NFC coil, it created a choke because they were too tightly compacted. But then if I didn't have enough, it wasn't supplying enough power to the lights. And so it took me like 5 tries to finally get it right. But something I toyed with the idea of doing in between is like, okay, well, I can get it to glow by not having the NFC chip in there because it allows for more space. But then I need a way for the person to be able to scan it when it's not in, but not necessarily the figure. So I was like, make a custom Amiibo card for Mega Man. And Seth Hay was like, if you ever want me to do like an Amiibo card series for you, like, so you can have the chips separate from the figure, that's something we could do. And so, like, I might end up going that route eventually. That way I can fit a switch and like a battery slot in the base.
That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And then or at least have that as an option for people. If they don't want it to be like self-contained, they can then get like the custom Amiibo card plus the figure with the battery, removable, replaceable battery plus a switch, and that would cost a good bit more than what I'm charging now. But it's an option if people want it, kind of thing.
People will pay, man. They really want. I think the next evolution, in my eyes, of this is coming. It's going to be to the ones that are creative enough to push forward their idea and see it through fruition. And I'm not going to say that I have the ideas or something, or knock somebody for saying something that sounds outlandish, because that might be it. And the whether it's a chip or a card or whatever, I just think that the NFC chip will be utilized more in a different form. Whether it's Amiibo, our phones. I think you touched on a little bit with the NFC stuff. I'd love to be able to take a card or something and just put it over my phone, and then I can scan my Amiibo into my Miitomo, and I can take some data from that, or I scan it in. Now I got a Sonic uniform or something,
We
those
talked
kind
about
of
that
things.
literally last week on the podcast.
Yeah, that'd be amazing, So I just see a lot of potential for the Amiibo. The big one is I have a whole line of Mario Kart Amiibo that no one did, and I have the whole line. I actually got carts. I made like an explosion with a blue shell. Things that people are like, I'd want that, but I'm like, I don't have the confidence to put it out there and do it. It would be like, I want that, and then 3 other people want it. I'm like, I don't want to make those.
I've been waiting for someone to do that. Like, even my own father was like, can you make Mario Kart Amiibo? I'm like, probably. I'm like, if I took the time to like get the cart and set it up, but I haven't thought about it.
McDonald's toys.
Dude, I've got those. I got 3 of them up on the.
You can paint them. It's just one of those things that's not been touched, because, like I was saying earlier, I feel like people just kind of follow their own path, and then they see, oh, this is what everybody's doing, I'm going to do it too. So I stopped for a while just to see where trends were going, and then I did my own thing without posting. And if you follow like John Cena on Instagram, he just posts nothing, because he already knows, like, it doesn't matter what you post, it's just posting and being there. and people will follow. If they unfollow, I love finding people that follow. I'm like, didn't you just like follow me like 4 times? Oh, you must have got mad that I just posted nothing for like 2 months. And you know, it's each their own. You know, if that's what you like and that's what you want, then you're gonna follow me. If not, that's okay too. You know, there's no golden rule to that. I feel like I have more unfollowers than followers at times. Like I don't care. I just, you know, it happens. You know, yeah. It's nothing personal,
Dude,
not at all.
I'm posting stuff like every day, and I get people just randomly unfollowing me. Like,
Of
this
course.
car's happening.
I stopped caring at all about my followers.
Right.
Okay, I care about my followers, but I don't care if they unfollow me. Like,
Right.
you know, it's most of my business is going to be, you know, if somebody wants to, you know, order from me, I don't have a website. People order by messaging me. And I did that on purpose because if I had a website, I couldn't keep up with the orders. I'm barely staying alive as it is.
Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So like,
It's enjoyable.
you know, I can. It's cool to have a lot of followers, but you know, if I lost like all of my 2,500 or so Twitter followers, oh well. You know, it sucks, but you know, it would bother me, but you know, it's not the end of the world.
No, absolutely.
So.
Good way of thinking about it.
So, we just went on a really, really long tangent in not answering World of Woozy's question.
I can answer.
Last question from World of Woozy. What's the toughest project that you guys have come across, and how did you get through it?
Want me to just get the ball rolling here?
Do it, dude. Knock it out.
Sorry. For me, definitely the Triforce Heroes 3-pack. Just because, as much as like the whole being first isn't that big of a deal, sometimes when it's a franchise coming out, like it's nice to be that first person, like we said earlier. So I made the deadline the game's release day, and I had like 2 weeks to do it, and I didn't want to screw it up, and I wanted to match as close as possible. And then I had to make the box for it, which I had to message a guy that actually made a three-pack artwork and ask him for basically the template for it, and then I had to remake it on my own, which took a while, and then just making that whole thing was just one big stress ball. But it definitely worked out in the end, because outside of the Sonic, the Splattered Sonic, and the Finn and Jake Toon Link, that's definitely the next one on the list for what I'm known for. So
It's awesome. I would say 2. I gave myself a time limit around October to do some. I did Freddy, Jason, the Scream Ghost, Billy from Saw, and a Zombie Clown, all Pac-Man. It was kind of a breaking point for me. I knew if I couldn't produce these with my own time limit, that I probably wouldn't be able to produce going forward. Just a mental thing. So I gave myself a time limit, and I knew I had an art show in Pomona to knock out and be a part of. So I gave myself that time limit, and with my own constraints, of course, you give because you're in charge. But each Pac-Man had their own challenge, so I knew that I wanted to find certain elements. I believe the Scream Ghost has a keychain part that I took, the Waka Waka Nom Nom sound from Pac-Man. I was able to hollow him out, which I was like, please be hollow in the inside.
Yeah,
And he was, so I was like, oh, this is money. And that was fun. The Scream Ghost itself, I had some fun techniques that I had. It's fun if you know other types of mediums of art and whatnot. I know a lot of other artists are like, you know, I only do acrylic or I only do spray painting. I'm like, are you kidding me? Everything I've ever learned in my entire life I use every day. Why not? You learned it, right? Use it. So that was fun building the cape. I had fun doing that out of clay. I never built a cape out of clay before. Other products, yes. Freddy, Jason. Jason's different face was like, okay, which face do I go with? Do I do the mask? Do I do the knife? You know, Freddy, the claws. How do I do this? I didn't want to just take a toothpick and then just cut it off and be like, oh, look, yeah, you know, wanted to make it look good. So I spent the time on it, and this is, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I am a colorblind artist. I don't see color very well. Not blues, not reds, just color. So that's just another challenge in my way. So I'm that kid that was like, if you peel my crayons, I'll kick your ass. You know, it was like, I don't know if it's blue or purple or brown.
Oh, question. Have you tried the Enchroma glasses?
No. No, I haven't.
So the way they work, it basically fixes. It makes it so it's as if you had all the rods and cones you're supposed to have.
Okay.
Whereas like and I'm guessing in your case, it's probably like a genetic thing where
Yes.
you're just lacking one or the other kind of thing.
Right.
And so they would fix your vision almost entirely.
Oh, rad! I'd love to see that.
Yeah, so I see a Kickstarter or charity event in our near future.
Right. I painted this. What the? I feel that way because I've been asked that. They're like, well, "What do you see?" I'm like, "I see what I normally see. I don't know. Like I've worn glasses since I was 4. I look like Froggy from Little Rascals, and that's all I've ever known. And they're just this close and not the right colors. And that's that's the confidence thing. I've always been into art. I've tried a million types of mediums. So to be able to, get a harness on it and say, this is what I want to do, and I don't care what's going to get in my way. I can't even see it. I don't care. It's in here. It's in here. I need to get it out here. That's the part where if you know it's inside of you, you'll do it. If you don't, you won't. It's that simple.
I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, we need to do a fundraiser to get you some N-Chroma glasses.
Right.
I'd wear them. I'd wear them.
No, so the thing is, if you do end up getting them, or we do end up following through on this, you have to, like, when you first get them, you have to go somewhere where it's like,
Yes.
you know it's supposed to be like visually stunning.
Right.
And like, don't put them on until you get there, and then put them on and just have somebody film your reaction. Because I don't know if you've seen the videos where people have done that. Go watch some of the videos where people that are colorblind go and get these glasses on for the first time. It's like, I mean, it makes you want to cry sometimes, just their reaction, being able to see the world for how actually beautiful it is. Like,
I agree. I could totally see myself crying.
All right. So we'll wrap it up on that note. So we're gonna do a fundraiser somehow. You know what? That can be what the Amiibo goes towards. Is really,
hey, there you go.
really wanting to get Mikous his N-Chroma glasses.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, wow, we've been recording a long time. Okay. Granted, about half of it was like us having technical issues. So custom of the week. Yes, we got to feature Mikous Collections. I think we were talking about using the Wario.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, so just tell us a quick, like, 30-second bit about that.
Yeah, you got it, man. I can wrap that up in 30 seconds to 45. How about that?
Sure.
My inspiration was from right here. I spent 2 solid days. I went to the store looking for fists. 2 fists from here up, knowing what I wanted, and that was it. Came home, and I knew Wario was on my brain. Bowser Jr., I had gotten a few of them. I was intentionally going to do the Koopa Kids, the Koopalings, however you want to put them. And I said, you know what? That's inevitable. Everybody's going to do that, and they did. So I'm glad I didn't go down that path. I opened up Wario, I opened up a Bowser Jr., and I just ripped them apart. And next thing you know, I come up with a lot of stories in my head. Things that I would say like a 9-year-old would come up with. A story, anything that I just wanted to see these characters do or be involved in. And I thought to myself, I bet Wario could beat the crap out of Bowser Jr., no problem. And then I go, well, what else would he do? And what would happen in that? So the story goes, he beat up Bowser Jr., took his cart, hightailed it, and the cart's alive. So the cart ended up getting sick from Wario because, he's pretty filthy and a dirty guy. And so, yeah, if you actually look at the picture, you can see the cart is actually vomited, and there's some kind of coming from its lip. The vomit that it spewed was from Wario. So you know how his bike breaks apart and you can throw the pieces in Smash Brothers and stuff. I was just thinking maybe he kind of took him to a landfill and made him eat the garbage. Wario's a jerk. Maybe he did something like that. So if you look on the piece too, Wario's wearing his shell. He beat him up and then killed him, and is wearing his shell as a prize. So
savage.
Holy crap.
Yeah, he's very savage. And I just, again, in the Nintendo world is so small and nice and cute. I said, that's not what I want. I want to see blood and guts, and I think a lot of other people do too. I just didn't want to interpret it in this piece, which there is a 2.0 coming out. I'm not going to give any hints, but just think clear, and that's all I can say about that.
Okay.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, and so, we'll feature that. And what's the official title of that piece?
It's called Wario's Joyride.
Wario's Joyride. Awesome. And we'll have a picture going up the whole time you're talking about it.
Excellent, thank you.
If you guys really want to see blood, guts, and gore on Amiibo, just check out Assaultus art.
I was just thinking that.
He just posted a flood of new stuff on Instagram.
I saw the Mega Man Mario one.
So that was where the idea for the Amiibo came from. A bunch of us were talking about doing a joint project and like doing this like combine where each artist would do a piece. And he was like, "What about the idea of Mega Man blasting Mario's head off?" And he would do the gore part on Mario. I would make the blast glow, and then Y-Rock would do like a bunch of painting on it, and a couple other artists were involved too. But nothing ended up ever coming about from it, and so I took the idea of like combining different artists together and came up with the Amiibo idea.
Right.
From there, but yeah. So let's see. Y-Rock. I mean, he's got Meta Knights all over the place now. With like the mask off with like it looks like oranges for eyes. It's creepy as hell.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like he's got Timmy and Tommy eating Villager.
Yeah, I saw that
That's the
one.
one I just saw. Yeah.
Yeah, so and Pikachu looking ridiculously gory. Oh, with his spine showing, wonderful. And
I've had to hold back on those because I'm a huge George Romero fan, not zombie fan. Zombies that don't run, by the way.
Right.
I'm a huge just Romero fan, so I actually have a slew of gory stuff like that. But again, on the same topic of I don't want to look like I'm trying to bite off him. Well, I think there's enough room for gore, and I have things. I'm just going to drop the name without actually showing you it. I have a Suicide Sonic that I've done. Just think about that for a second. And
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, that's a whole other side of. I've actually have about 3 or 4 different styles going on right now that I haven't released anything. But yeah, I'm yet to do the blood and guts stuff just because I didn't want to be like, oh, Mikous Collections, he's just biting off someone else. I don't want that, and so I just wanted the space buffer to be like, okay, well look, it's a completely different take. I don't think it's like his. I love his work. I've seen it, and I love the detail work. And that's just, I love the details in anything, but yeah, it was one of those where I'm like, me too, but you don't want to look like you're just latching on to latch on. It's a true art form, when that's what was my biggest thing was, you guys realize if we just take the bases off these things, you're actually making a figure, and if you actually realize that you're making a figure, you should be hired at like Mattel or Hasbro or these places that make figures, because everyone across the board, I've seen the potential for that to happen. So just take the base away, take the Amiibo away, start with a piece of clay, you realize you just started from the ground up. You're bigger than you actually think you are. It's a real thing that gets overlooked in all of this. So take the base away, you're creating from the ground up.
Yeah, I agree.
The base, in my case, the base kind of houses
It helps.
For the Amiibo, yeah.
For the Amiibo.
For the potential where these can go, I get it.
Yeah. Me
So, I'm also very glad that you picked Wario's Joyride, because that's the biggest one that stood out in my mind when trying to think of stuff of yours to talk about. Just because that's one of the reasons I like you as an artist, is the rest of us do try to make stuff that's based on other video games or other forms of pop culture, anime, etc. And you're just over here like, well, what about this idea? What about if we put these two together? What if this was its own whole story? And that's just awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, man. I really try to just be different. That's pretty much what it is. I mean, it's amazing what you can do in 15 seconds, huh? Those little videos and stuff. I'm sure you guys all have health concerns of the rock stars. I'm going to give you this little slip. They're not a full can.
Are you taking like Pepsi or something like that to just lower your stomach?
I get that question. I'm like, you really drink all those? I'm like, no, it's full of water and it's an empty can. Like, it's just sitting there. Sometimes if you hear the crack, that's probably just a new one, or you can cut videos up. Editing is a powerful thing.
Right.
So, just creating something that people are going, hey, did you see that guy? But nobody wants to just see the end result. If you do, you're going to go see it, and then we all know art. 2 seconds, 1 second, that's probably 1 or 2 seconds longer than you expected. That's just how art works.
Yeah.
So to see somebody talk about you, and they're like, what the heck is this guy doing? It's like the Jack Sparrow thing, but you have heard of me. it's one of those things. It just lodges in my brain. I don't want to be a traditional artist. I never have. In medium, all my mediums that I've ever done in touch screen printing, I print on games themselves. I've collected all the Nintendo games, Super Nintendo games. I'm like, who wants them? I'm done. It's like just in the way. It's just a bunch of plastic. To somebody who really wants them, they're gonna buy them, cherish them, and probably only play like 5 or 6 because that's the only good games in the whole lot. So it's just an interesting thing that we've come upon as far as collections and collecting, and because Amiibo are that way, you hear the people that I have them all. I'm like, yeah, they really just cost money like everything else. So it's not an achievement. It's having something different or an art piece. That's why I say custom versus a piece of art. It's artwork. When I see somebody taking something, making it completely theirs, and you're looking at this going, it looks nothing like the original. Not just a paint job, not just something small from a game. You really see a piece of artwork. So it's the times are changing. Within this next new year, you're going to see a lot of change within the Amiibo community. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and so, and on that note, you know, that's really cool, and I love how inspired you are to do something different, because it's a nice breath of fresh air. Because like all my customs are very much inspired. I try to make it realistic, like something you would like. Let's say that as far as the weirdest, most unexpected thing I did was the King DDD, where he swallowed Kirby and the hammer glowed. Like, you know, that was something that, you know, a friend of mine was like, you should do that, and I was like, that's awesome, I'm going to do that. That's not necessarily something you see in a game, but as far as, you know, customs go, I try to stick mostly to what you'd see in a game. You know, Mega Man's Buster glowing, you know, the Fireball from Mario glowing, Pikachu's cheeks. You know, I try to stick close to the games just because, I guess, in a way, I want to honor the games because they, you know, it's been a large part of my life. But it's always nice when there's somebody that's willing to go out there and just say, you know what, I'm going to do something completely original.
Yeah. Thank you. It does take a certain amount of guts. And honestly, I posted the Wario's Joyride only because I finished a project, I was proud of it, and I did not think, I thought it was just going to be, you know, 20 likes or something. But I went to bed, and when I woke up the next morning, you know, we all wake up, slave to the phone, you know, and you open up, and I went, what the? And I went, okay, what did I do here? And I watched that thing grow, and the messages and the things people were saying, I'm like, what did I do? Did I do something wrong? Like, it was almost a negative and a positive at one time. So I just wrote it out, and 3 or 4 days later, I was still getting likes. It was the first time I had ever gotten multiple days of likes, usually 1.5 days, and then it's gone. And this was one of those things where I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I had several people messaging me, absorbing about some money. You know, I sold it for less than what people have offered. And I had, you know, one gentleman was relatively upset that I didn't sell it to him. And I said, you know, the money's not everything. It really isn't. I said, if you only knew how much heart I put into this, you probably would say, why are you selling this? So it was one of those things. And I said, you know what, just wait. I'll make you one. He likes the Mysterio Bowser that I'm doing. I'm doing the whole Sinister Six in Bowser form. Thanks, man. And, you know, that's just, I love Spider-Man, and I love the Sinister Six so much. And I thought, okay, Bowser, great, perfect body, this is working. But, yeah, he was relatively upset. And I had 2 other people the same way. And I said, I'm sorry. You know, it sold for like 80-something bucks on eBay, and that doesn't matter to me. You know, it cost me more than that to make it. And so I'm not worried about that. I was very happy to give this gentleman what he wanted, and they said they're using it as a mascot for their Smash tournaments. That's rad. Right? Like, I'll take it. I'm happy for them.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to wrap it up because I have a crap ton of editing to do now. I've
got a girl texting me, so I feel that.
All right. And I'm exhausted. All right, guys. I'm Mason, aka Amiiglows.
And I'm Kyle, aka Mr. SpaceHeater, and we have been touching base with our guests.
Mikous, how you doing?
All right, guys. That's it for level 8 of the Touch Base podcast.
Woo! Woo! That was fun. That was a good conversation, guys.
Right on. That was great. I enjoyed it. Thank you, guys.
That was fun.
Peace out, guys. Bye.